All right, let's start with a big one. What if the path to real freedom required you to throw out everything you think you know? I mean, everything. That is the radical and, let's be honest, pretty demanding challenge from the philosopher Krishnamurti. And today we're going to explore his guide to what he calls freedom from the known.
It really all kicks off with a question that I think haunts all of us at some point. You look at the news, you see all the chaos and the division in the world, and you can't help but ask yourself, does any of this have any meaning at all? Like, what is this whole living thing really all about?
So, when we're searching for meaning, what's our first move? Almost always, it's to look outside of ourselves, right? We grab books, we listen to gurus, we follow ideologies. We're basically looking for someone, anyone, to just hand us a map and say, here's how you live.
But, and this is a huge but, this is exactly where Krishnamurti throws down his first major challenge. He says that when we live on the words and the ideas of other people, we become, get this, second-hand people. Our lives just become shallow and empty, They're filled up with stuff we've been told, not what we've actually discovered for ourselves.
Okay, so if looking to others is the problem, that leads us right into Krishnamurti's first big idea. The entire traditional path to finding truth is actually a trap. So let's unpack that a little. Why does he think it's a trap?
I mean, think about it. For centuries, what have we been told? Follow the teacher, do the rituals, repeat the prayers, control your thoughts, suppress your desires. Basically, twist your mind and your body into some pre-approved shape. The promise is that you'll find something special, something beyond all this. But Krishnamurti's point is, a tortured, broken mind isn't going to find some pure, beautiful truth. It's only going to find a truth that's just as tortured and broken as it is.
And this really gets to the heart of the difference. The traditional approach, it's slow, it's mechanical. It's like trying to peel an onion, right? You just keep peeling away layer after layer, hoping you'll find something at the core. Krishnamurti says, nope, that's not it. His approach is the complete opposite. It's not a slow peeling, it's a psychological explosion from the center. It's not a gradual thing. It's about an instant total awareness.
So what's the very first step then? Well, according to Krishnamurti, the journey can only truly begin when we're willing to stand completely alone. And that means rejecting all of it. The ceremonies, the dogmas, the teachers, all the so-called spiritual authorities. It means we have to stop seeking. Because as long as we're seeking, we're just window shopping, just looking for a comfortable answer that someone else has already packaged up for us.
Okay, so this is the major pivot point. Once you've stopped looking out there for all the answers, well, there's only one place left to look, isn't there? Inside.
And this quote, this just nails it. Truth has no path. And that is the beauty of truth. It is living. See, a dead thing can have a path. A fixed destination can have a path. But truth, he says, is a living thing. It's not sitting in some temple waiting for you. It's not at the end of some 10-step program. The living thing is you, right now. It's your anger, your jealousy, your joy. That's where the truth is, and understanding what is, right now.
So how does this actually work, this turning inward? Krishnamurti's core message is simple. Self-knowledge is where wisdom begins. Why? Because you aren't separate from the world. You are the world. The greed, the violence, the nationalism we see out there is just a giant projection of the greed, violence, and nationalism inside each and every one of us.
And yeah, that brings us to a pretty uncomfortable question. When you stop following the crowd, you're alone. And why are we so terrified of being alone? Krishnamurti says it's because, for the first time, we're forced to look at ourselves exactly as we are. And what we see isn't always pretty. We see the emptiness, the anxiety, the guilt. And our first instinct is to run, to distract ourselves, to get away from it as fast as we can.
And this is the really staggering conclusion of looking inward. You, as an individual, are totally responsible for the whole state of the world, for every war, for all the misery. Why? Because the aggression, the greed, the prejudice in your own life contributes to the collective chaos. Suddenly understanding yourself isn't just some navel-gazing personal quest, it's a global responsibility.
Wow. Okay, so that's a heavy weight to carry, right? The natural next question is, how? How in the world do we actually do this? Well, Krishnamurti does offer a practical method. He calls it the art of observing ourselves without judgment.
He calls this process choiceless awareness. And the key here is that you can really only see yourself in relationship. how you react to your boss, your partner, the news. The trick is to just observe your reactions. When you get angry or jealous or greedy, don't try to correct it, don't justify it, and definitely don't condemn it. You just watch. You see it for what it is.
Now, it's really easy to confuse this with concentration, but Krishnamurti says they're totally different things. Concentration is like a laser beam. It's exclusive. You focus on one thing by fighting and resisting everything else, and that creates conflict and strain. Attention, though, is like a floodlight. It's inclusive. It's a total awareness of everything. What's happening inside you, what's happening outside, with zero resistance. And in that state of pure attention, there's this incredible frictionless energy.
Okay, so let's use this idea of attention to look at something we all deal with, fear. What is fear, really? Krishnamurti's definition is mind-bending. He says fear isn't a thing. It's the psychological movement in time from the known to the unknown. Think about that. You're certain about your job, your relationships, that's the known. The thought of losing them, of what might happen tomorrow, that's the unknown. That gap, that movement between the two, that is fear.
And what creates that movement, that gap? One thing, thought. Because what is thought? It's just the responsive memory, right? It's the past. So you get hurt in a relationship. Thought remembers that pain and projects it into the future, saying, watch out, don't get hurt again. Or you're really happy right now. Thought pops up and says, oh no, what if this ends tomorrow? In both cases, it's thought that creates the time, the gap between now and then, where fear lives and breathes.
Okay, and this leads to the biggest and maybe the trickiest insight of all. We normally think there's a separation, right? There's me, the one who's observing, and then there's fear, the thing I'm observing. But Krishnamurti says, hold on, who is this observer? Who is this me that's doing the watching? When you look closely, that me is just a bundle of past memories, past hurts, past conditioning. That me is the source of the fear. So you're not an observer watching fear. You are the fear. The observer is the observed. And the moment you see that, really see that there is no division between you and the fear, the whole conflict just ends. There's no one left to fight it.
This realization, this direct seeing that the observer is the observed, this is the master key. This is what unlocks the final part of this whole journey, what Krishnamurti actually means by freedom from the known.
So let's think about how we usually see life and death. Living is what we're doing right now. Dying is this scary thing that's going to happen way, way off in the future. We create this huge gap, this big interval of time between the two. And what fills that entire gap? Fear. The fear of ending.
But Krishnamurti just flips that whole idea on its head. He says that to truly live, you must be dying constantly. Now, he's not talking about physical death, of course. He means a psychological death, a death to everything that happened a moment ago. To live completely, with total passion and beauty, you have to die to everything of yesterday.
So what does that actually mean, dying to yesterday? It means dying to your hurts, to your pleasures, to your memories, your beliefs, your conclusions. It's about letting go of the entire accumulation of your past. Because it's only when the mind is empty of all that known stuff that it can be fresh, young, and innocent. Only then can it see the world as it actually is, not through the filter of the past.
And that's where we land on this really profound paradox. This total freedom from everything you've known, your memories, your identity, your entire idea of you, is in a way a kind of death. So the final question, the one that Krishnamurti leaves us with, is this. In that total death of the known, are you, for the very first time, finally living?